This week's video is sponsored by PCBWay. Ever since I got my bandsaw, I've been meaning to build a robot using just wood, plastic, and 3D printed parts. Welcome to Cut, Transform, Glue. Okay, so first things first, let's go ahead and prepare some nice MDF and plastic sandwiches. These are all reclaimed stuff, so essentially free stuff, though I'm thinking I should probably go ahead and grab more MDF from the store, as I'm loving this technique so much. Now for the plastics, well, I'm probably good on that front, as I have this unhealthy amount of plastic here in my shop ready to go. I've been loving the dumpsters I have near my new shop location. Now I was throwing away a lot of money using this tiny bottle of CA to, make the sandwiches, but recently I went to a store and bought this giant bottle of CA. So yeah, I'll use this to prepare the sandwiches. Now, I know you might be thinking, why cover the MDF with plastic? Well, MDF is cheap and easy to cut, but it's almost too fragile. That's actually why I stopped using some 3mm MDF cut on a laser CNC. The plastic, on the other hand, is much more resistant. It takes primer and CA really well, especially styrene, and plus it's free, and like I said, I can easily find more whenever I need it. TLDR, I use the MDF to thicken the shapes, and honestly, I would totally go for a 10 or 15mm styrene if that was actually obtainable. Okay, so here they are, and I actually made a couple of different versions. This one right here uses a single sheet of MDF, but I also made a thicker version with 2 sheets of MDF. So this way I can reach thicker pieces faster. Now before I go any further and start building this robot, I actually want to begin with a quick sketch session. Now, of course, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel or anything here. I'm just trying to gather some quick silhouettes to guide myself on this experimental project, just to have a basic sense of direction so I can really put this idea to the test. Okay, so let's start cutting things, because that's where the fun is. I usually begin my models from the body, but this time I want to begin from the hip section to kind of set the size and the proportion of this map. I threw a quick grid to help things be parallel and perpendicular. And then I marked out the first shapes I wanted to cut, so I can actually see the lines. I'm not using a marker, but scratching the surface of the plastic. And I'm also using some acrylic discs for the rounded corners. To cut the shapes, I went with the bandsaw. I've noticed I've been getting cleaner and straighter cuts by hand without using the fence, so this is how I've been doing it. And for the finishing touches, my beloved mini disc sander. Now, another benefit of having a layer of plastic on the outside is that pretty quickly you can make a precise chamfer on the outside edge using a snap knife or even a metal roller. Back to the waist, the next step is to glue the pieces I just cut. I first marked and found the center of the top piece, and then glued it using some CA. And just to be safe, I added a screw, pushing everything tight together. Then I grabbed a scrap piece from the previous cut and made an extra shape, adding it to the back. Okay, so this first structure right here is finished. And of course, this right here is the hip. This little section right here in between the body and the two legs. Now, next, I'm gonna go ahead and 3D model some custom pieces to go with it. I'm thinking a small air vent right here for the front, some details for the underside, and a ball joint. This thing right here, preparing the hip to receive the legs. So let's start adding the first 3D printed parts for this project, shall we? To model the parts, I use this software called Plasticity. Not that this is a 3D modeling tutorial or anything, but just to show you that 3D printing isn't a crutch, like some people say. These pieces still take some real work. And to help you guys visualize everything that's printed, I'm making all of these parts in the same pink filament. I want to create a contrast between the materials since that's the whole experiment. But don't you worry, I'll make sure to go over each one in detail as they show up. So now, let's start putting some parts on the hip. The first part I will add to the hip is a ball joint, a simple design that gives you much more dynamic poses for your models. Again, I'll make sure to explain how it works in just a bit. So this ball joint system right here is pretty simple. Essentially, it's the same system I had on this little guy right here, the collector project, except thanks to my old shop computer, I kinda lost all of the files from that project and had to remodel the thing from scratch. But it's a pretty simple system. I have a ball and a socket. On the middle of this half sphere right here, I have a 5mm hole where I can put a tiny rod that will catch on this set of angles right here. Pretty simple stuff and very effective. On the top plate of the hip there is an axle to allow some pivoting and posing of the robot's body, a small detail that makes a huge difference in the overall feel of the robot. Under the top plate, a couple sets of, well, details. I never knew what to call these, but they're basically reinforcements, so the mech looks sturdy and robust. The final touch on the front is the air vent. I always love adding these to my models. I feel like it makes a lot of sense, and with that, the hip section was complete. With the first set of custom parts in place, the hip section was complete, which brings me to this week's video sponsor, PCBWay. Testing new tools and ideas is part of my job, but did you know you don't actually need all of these machines to enjoy making? PCBWay is an online platform where you can order your custom parts through a super simple process. They offer 3D printing services, which we all love, but also CNC machining, PCB manufacturing, and a ton of other options with lots of choices, so you can craft whatever you need. Maybe you want to start building some cool robots using custom parts, or finally finish that maker project that needs a specific piece you just can't find. PCBWay is the solution, so please check the link below and find out how they can help you achieve your maker goals. And a huge thank you to PCBWay for sponsoring this week's video. You know, I'm still getting to know my bandsaw. I've never had one before, and so I've been carefully testing it and seeing how precise I can get with it. Surprisingly, I'm getting straighter cuts by hand without using a fence, and I have no idea why. Can't complain though, cause cutting the shapes in pairs using double-sided tape and then refining the edges on the mini disc sander is an absolute blast. Never thought such precise shapes could be done like this, and I'm so happy with it. There's still a lot to learn and test, of course, like for instance, when to cut the rounder corners. Should I make them as I make these straight edges or do them separately like I'm doing right here? One is definitely trickier than the other, but the second one seems easier on the tool. Also, the bandsaw made me realize that my disc sander should be more powerful, so there's an extra project. But yeah, a lot to learn and a lot to improve. The knee for this project is also inspired by the collector knee, as you can see right here, except this one is a little more complex and it uses a couple of screws and self-locking nuts. As you can see in this project, I like to include kind of a twist on the lower leg segment. You can see it right here on this joint, and this system does exactly the same thing, except in a more precise way. So let's nerd out a bit about this knee design. It might look complex, but trust me, it's actually pretty simple. It's made up of 4 parts, and the first 2 you see right there are responsible for just a small amount of twisting motion in the leg, not the main bending movement of a knee. Also, they have a couple of built-in features that keep it from twisting too much. It can only twist within a controlled range, as you can see right there. On the outside comes the next 2 parts, one for each leg. Those are the ones responsible for bending the leg. They also create a larger gap between each segment, which helps with the design to feel more nimble and even a bit taller if needed. For the lower leg segment, a single axle part of the knee design was more than enough. You can also see that I added an extra piece of MDF in between the leg and the ball joint, just to create some extra space. And with that, the legs were taking shape. And that's exactly what I wanted with this project/experiment thing, to see how quickly and precisely I could put a robot together. And honestly, I'm loving the results. But we're still missing, of course, the body. And the body could be anything. And I literally mean anything. As long as these shapes work well together, of course. But for the sake of this project/experiment, I want to keep with the plastic and MDF. But yeah, I just wanted to show you guys that everything brings something to the table, be it found items, wood, plastic, or even 3D printed parts. The only rule I follow in this channel is, does it look cool? And if it does, I do it. We're on the final stretch here, racing to the finish line. So the next step is to cut the shapes I'll use for the body. I'm thinking of a shape very similar to another project, the mascot of the channel, the Gribbly Hunter, kinda like a cheese-shaped body. And again, just a rough cut on the rounded corners, and then the finishing touches on the disc center. Next, I removed the burrs left from the cuts using a blade. And then I found the center on that piece to align it with the next one. If this were plywood, gluing edge to edge would be tricky, but since this is MDF, CA is more than enough. On the bottom comes an extra shape with the connector that meets the hip section, and now I'll go all in with the 3D printed details. and even the tiny scraps are useful with this build method since they can be shaped into smaller detail parts. Okay, so the body is finished. Of course, this is just a quick experiment, so yeah, I'm not expecting a crazy amount of detail. Looks pretty good already, but I think it's missing some of the pew-pew attachments. I'm thinking a couple of missile pods, one on each side. Let me tell you, the double-sided tape is now my favorite technique on the bandsaw. It's the best way to produce two identical parts, not to mention how fast it is. And if a curve or a feature isn't that precise, it's the same on both copies, so who's gonna say it's wrong? Kind of the perfect way to hide a few crimes. Now, honest talk right here, this is one of my favorite things to do right here in the shop, to test new tools, new ideas and techniques. Now, I know this is not as entertaining as maybe a full-blown project, but I need to do this to eventually get to that. I need to test things in order to get better, to eventually get there. Now, I cannot forget to mention that all of these pieces, all of these custom parts are available for my patrons on the Combat Robot tier, but also on my Patreon shop as a standalone STL pack. So if you can, please check the links below, because I need to replace this 15-year-old camera right here. Please hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Check the links for the sponsor of this week's video and tell them I sent you. And as always, thanks for watching.